I have a new word.
You always have a new word. What's the new word this week?
Boomerasking.
Okay.
Go on, what is it? Tell me.
It sounds a lot like something you'd ask me. So you've got a question for me, so you're boomerasking. That's my suggestion.
No, it's not. It's a good guess. And I'll be honest, it's what I thought it was too when I first saw it. But it isn't something that your parents do on Facebook. It's a term researchers are using to describe a pretty annoying conversational habit. So Al, you know when you're talking to somebody and they ask you a question, but it's really obvious that they're not interested in your answer. They're just waiting to jump in with their own story.
Like this question here.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's
I do
boomerasking.
Oh, I see. Okay, so I'm basically just putting in a question to show out, to pretend I care, but actually I just want to get back to talking about me and my dog.
Yeah, so it's been coined from boomerang. So the conversation is coming back to you, boomerasking. So I'm basically just asking questions to then bring the conversation back to me. So researchers Allison Wood Brooks from Harvard and Michael Yumans from Imperial College London recently explored boomerasking in a series of studies published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology General and was also highlighted by the British Psychological Society.
Fancy.
Very fancy. So they ran 8 experiments with hundreds of participants from the UK, US and Hong Kong and found that boomerasking typically appears in 3 forms. First of all, ask bragging. So you ask someone a question purely so you can brag about yourself. So for example, do you have a podcast? I myself have an award-winning psychology podcast that's part of the HubSpot Podcast Network. The other one, ask complaining. You ask somebody how they're doing, only then to be able to unload your own complaint straight away. I've fallen victim to that one quite a few times. And finally, ask sharing. So you pretend to be interested in somebody's opinion, but quickly pivot back to your own views. Something I do regularly in this segment of the podcast. So there you have it. We're all guilty of boomerasking from time to time. The researchers, what did they find? They found that across hundreds of participants from the UK, US and Hong Kong, boomerasking consistently made conversations feel less enjoyable, more frustrating and insincere. It signals to the other person that you're not genuinely interested in what they have to say. You're just waiting to talk about yourself. And perhaps unsurprisingly, boomer askers usually have no idea they're doing it. They genuinely think they're engaging positively because they asked the question first, right? But no, participants rated these individuals as significantly less likable, sincere, and trustworthy. Why should you care? Well, leaders should care about boomer asking because it undermines trust, damages relationships, and weakens team performance. When leaders boomer ask, their teams quickly sense that the conversation is more about the leader's ego than genuine engagement. And according to the researchers, boomer asking signals insincerity and self-interest, and that's going to harm all sorts of things like psychological safety and discourage employees from speaking openly, and probably reduce overall collaboration as well. It's like Mr. Stephen Covey once said, most people don't listen with the intent to understand, they listen with the intent to reply. So if you want to build a high-performing team, you need to listen with intent to understand. Al thought, this is the boomerasking bit where I'm going to ask you and then you're going to come back to me.
Yeah, well, first of all, if you're interested in Stephen Covey, then we had the amazing Todd on the website. No, this isn't a website, this is a podcast. On the podcast recently, who worked with Dr. Covey for a long, long time. Also taught me that I was calling him Covey and it's Dr. Covey. Is the way you say
sorry.
it. Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry, Stephen.
Anyway, so, this is, look, if you've ever been to any kind of networking event, then you know what this is. You know that people are like that. Like, so, how do you build websites at the moment? I mean, and people, oh God, I know what you're going to say. You're a web developer. You're asking me how I build websites because you want to say, well, we build them a different way. And see, that's what I was thinking about when I was thinking about websites before. Yeah, there's also, what about this, Lee? I tend to do kind of the opposite sometimes. Someone will ask me a question and I'll go, yeah, it's, I'm not sure, it's a tricky subject. What do you think? And the idea being, because first of all, I genuinely want to hear what they say. But secondly, I also want to learn a little bit more about them because often when they talk, I can then work out whether I actually want to keep talking to them or not. But is that the opposite or is that still a type of boomerasking?
It's not a type of boomerasking that the researchers have identified because it's a different intent, isn't it? Your intent isn't to speak, your intent is to listen. So no, I don't think it would be classed as boomerasking.
These researchers should have talked to me, Lee. They really should have done.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? And I think it's where the sincerity comes in because if as a leader you know that you should ask your people how you are, but then show no interest when they actually reply, that's when that insincerity is gonna come through. And equally, it's gonna come in insincere if you then just talk about talk about yourself. The only one that I'd say maybe just approach with a little bit of patience and a little bit of time is maybe the ask complaining, just in case somebody isn't doing all right and they just need to offload. Often that's all that's needed, is just to get it out, and once it's out, it feels a bit lighter. So that's the only boomerasking that I might be inclined to tolerate a little bit more. But really interesting research there from, where did it come from? Harvard and Imperial College London. Really interesting. I will leave the link to the full article in the show notes.